them come and talk, all them come and talk. None of them can come test. All them come and talk, all them come and talk. None of them can come test. So who give up, give up, who give up? Wanna say who give up, give up, who give up? Wanna say who give up, give up, who give up? Wanna say who give up, give up.
I began as a keyboard player, and I did music studies, jazz, classical, blues even, and then I got a scholarship to finish some music studies over in the UK. And living in London, I ended up living in Brixton for a while, and that's where I really discovered sound system culture. This is all when I'm like about early 20s. I'd already discovered, a lot of fantastic reggae music, particularly Augustus Pablo was a big inspiration, the Far East sound as they call it in Jamaica. But yeah, in Brixton, going to like Just Shaka sound system parties and really hearing the bass culture and feeling the table shake and the glasses shake from the bass, and that's what really got me into that style of music. Came back to Australia and worked on my first record actually. I bought a sampler in London, and I always came from a hip hop background, so the first beats I was making, I was really sampling my old vinyl records and getting those tasty sounds with lots of vinyl noise, and that's really, it still has a big influence on my production because I'm not so into the clean digital thing. I like a bit of analog, I like a bit of those sounds. So fast forward 2004, and I just realised I needed to go to the home of the music, to Yard, to Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica, and my first trip I worked with a lot of different artists, Big Youth, Anthony B, Determined, and then a lot of emerging artists, up and coming artists. Put out that album, Melbourne Meets Kingston, which did really well in Australia and beyond, and that sort of really pushed me on the path, I guess, of being a music producer that works a lot with Jamaican artists. But yeah, stylistically, I'm into everything. If it's good music, it's good music, and I never want to box myself into one thing, What's interesting for me, what's always excited me about music is like there has to be fire in the music, When I say fire, I mean there has to be some raw energy, something powerful that's going to reach people. It's not even necessarily to do with the style of the music, it's just having this sort of ingredient, and like when I play keyboards, man, I'm not interested in playing elevator music. I'm not interested in playing something in the background. I want something that cuts through and really reaches people, and that can cover any style from foundation reggae to right up to the time dancehall or to all electronic styles. So it's about having something authentic, some integrity to your music, you know what I mean? For me personally though, I'm not interested in auto-tune. I don't want to voice artists that can't sing and then try and fix it up in the studio and pretend that they can sing. I want something like that's more real than that, So mixing the styles is great. Just do it in a way that's like has some musical integrity, Like I've never written or produced music because I thought it might have commercial success, Like for sure I want my music to get out there, and my music has got out there, But I guess like more than the commercial appeal, like music is timeless, man. It's not about like making $1 now or trying to let's make a track like that one because that just busted the charts and did really well, or let's copy them, or let's take that something and just take that bass line but we'll change 2 notes. And then for me it's much more, I want to make something totally new and different, and that's another reason this Cuba Jamaican project, because I can really hear how we can bring cultures together, bring people together, bring musicians together. It's not about me, it's about actually like expanding the networks and opening up new sounds, and that's what excites me, Yeah, like there's just way too much commercial music, way too much bullshit out there. You can tell from the way I'm talking, like I get like worked up about, because it's just like leave that to them, it's bringing the planet down, it's not uplifting the planet, it's not making the world a better place, and music can do that, but it has to come from a place of real integrity, That's what I'm interested in. Yeah. Well, listen, my first trip to Jamaica 2004, Sizzler and Capleton were actually top of my list, and Anthony B for that trip, but due to time and just a few other things, artists not being on the island, I worked with Anthony B, but not those other two until 2008. I met them both, and a friend introduced me to Sizzler, and I went to his yard, and him and about 10 guys all sitting around. They had a little CD player, and I had a CD with about 10 rhythms on it, and I met Sizzler, and said what a fan I was of his music, because I really am. Like, he's an amazing artist. And anyway, we put the CD in, and you know, 2 or 3 rhythms in, he's banging the CD player and the CD's jumping, so he's going to pull it up and straight away writing lyrics. You know, he had a book and the pen out, and I've even got some wicked footage of it actually. Like, and he came up like, you know, I was planning to record 1 song that day, he recorded 3. And so right from the beginning I was like, wow, if he's going to do 3 when I've asked him for 1, maybe we can do an album here or something, you know, like. So that was 2008, and that was the first tune we did was Wide as a War Cry, and that came out of my album Warn the Nation. And the other 2 tunes I kind of mixed them, but just was, you know, we'll think about the album, and I realised I need to go back to Jamaica actually. So 2011 went back and voiced a lot of the album. So the album was recorded over a few years, you know, and 2011 he recorded much of the album. I took it back to Australia, he sent me some more lyrics, I mixed it and worked on it, and then went back again to finalise it all, do some more overdub. So the album had a lot of, you know, I know a lot of production across reggae albums is really hit and miss, and a lot of stuff gets rushed. I knew if I was going to do an album with Sizzla, I wanted it to be something great, and I wanted to make sure each rhythm was, you know, had like the vibes, and I was really happy. And Sizzla's singing is amazing, and because I went back and revisited the sessions, we got a lot of harmonies and BVs, and a lot of the songs I wasn't quite happy with some of the verses, or so there was a few songs where I'd actually like take back and took it back to Jamaica, and we redid new verses and stuff. Really built the songs up, you know, and he was happy to work like that. Yeah, and then I took it all back to Australia to finalise it, to do the final mixes, and it was at a really good festival in Australia actually that I met Dove, who's runs the Muti label, and I'd sent him, I think a few days after that, I sent him the mixes, and he loved the album. We got talking, and yeah, eventually, you know, Muti put it out. Muti Music, the label in San Fran that released that for me, they're a bass electronic label, really. They're like specialised in styles from like dubstep, trap, jungle, drum and bass, excuse me, and so we're in Delhi. It's quite dusty here, so I'm just still getting used to this. And yeah, but Muti Music are wicked, like really, you know, cool bunch of dudes that run that label, and they had great links for a lot of bass electronic producers. And right from the start, when we were talking about the Sizzla release, it's like, let's do these remix EPs, you know, let's choose 4 or 5 singles and really work the remix angle, and not just the remixes. First of all, I take the rhythm and voice other artists in classic style, so you've got like, you know, a few other artists on the same rhythm. Then, you know, one of the tracks for I'm Living actually was like a 15-track EP. So on the original I'm Living rhythm, we've got like Brew Banton, Prince Ella, Cornel Campbell, and then we had, you know, artists from like Ed Solo and Sticky Buds doing killer sort of Jungle Breaks remix, and some sort of Third Eye did this really down-tempo nice dubstep remix. So it's a really interesting way to release a reggae album, basically, and it's never been done before apparently. This is the first time you've got an album release with 4 or more EPs showcasing the song with other versions on the rhythm and a whole lot of remixes in a heap of great different styles. So it reaches, even on the Blessed EP we had like some techno remixes, but good, you know, and on the Champion Sound remix some really, really heavy drum and bass remixes. So it's kind of nice, man. It means the music just goes to much different corners of the planet. And also when I DJ, like, it's just made my set so much more diverse, and yet it's still basically my music, but in remix form, you know. Yeah, look, I was back in Yard in Jamaica this time last year, and this is the album that I worked on. It just come out, so I was keen to get him a bunch of the CDs and get some music videos done and do a bit of promotion. But I took 10 days out I'd been wanting to go to Cuba my whole life, you know, so went up, I got a easy flight, Kingston to Havana direct, and 10 days in Cuba, and it just blew me away. The people, the music, the culture, I love it. It's like so different to Jamaica, but yet there's so much in common, and these 2 islands are only 90 miles apart. But I think the real moment was I was sitting in this little coffee house, and it was just a CD playing. It's like really, really energetic, fast Cuban percussion. I'm just hearing all these dancehall rhythms, and I'm going, why hasn't this happened, man? Why hasn't this happened? So the idea kind of grew, and it was just like, okay, I want to try and get a Jamaican band into Cuba and bring a Cuban band together with some Jamaican musicians, and just let's make some magic, you know. And I was looking at some funding opportunities in Australia, and we got a bit of grant support to do it, basically. And now we've got a Kickstarter campaign online, which we're really pushing to try and get the rest of the funds together. But basically, we're going to fly Sly and Robbie Bongo Herman, Leroy Sibbles from the Heptones, and some younger Jamaican artists over as well into Havana, and we're working at Egram Studios, which is where the Buena Vista album was recorded, and we'll be working with a lot of the original members of the Buena Vista group actually, like including Barbarita Torres, the amazing like loud and chess player, and yeah, it's gonna be, I want to do an album in Spanish and Patois and English, and something that mixes the old and new foundation Jamaican styles with the old and new Cuban styles, and just put it together and let's see what happens, you know. And we'll spend those 5-6 days in really putting down a lot of rhythms. Then I'm gonna take that back to Jamaica and voice as many artists as I can and make this a really universal album, you know. So I'm excited. It's definitely giving me direction for the next year, you know. I guess again, like releasing on this label, working with Moody Music, they're a label that bass electronics, their style, and that's styles of music. It's a lot of different styles that term covers, you know. But it's music that excites me. Some, you know, awesome artists on their roster, and so signing with them and also seeing the electronic music scene around the world is becoming a lot more diverse, you know. Festivals like Boom, Azoria, Rainbow Serpent in Australia. They're originally trance music festivals, you know, and luckily they're really diversifying and also bringing in much greater amounts of people with more styles of music. So for me, Boom, I played a set at the Funky Beach stage. It was an awesome afternoon set, you know, people dancing in the water and girls sunbaking. So I started off really mellow and build it up, and it's good. These festivals are becoming more open to reggae music and bass culture, you know, like I don't just have to play at like festivals that are predominantly reggae now. I can kind of fit in anywhere. It's awesome. But I do have to shout out a few crew like Blue King Brown, who is an Australian sort of roots reggae band, but really mixed with a lot of flavours. They've actually just moved over to Jamaica to the singer and the bass player. They're kind of got Kingston now as a second bass. So they're doing a lot of work now too, voicing artists and working with artists like Jesse Royal and a few others. And it's probably really Blue King Brown and myself that are most regularly out of any Australian producers. I think we're the main ones sort of working regularly with artists, you know. Yeah, I mean the people working hardest in Australia probably more the radio crew and the sound system crew. So, you know, people brethren like Jesse I that you know and that have been really holding the torch, pushing the music on the radio airwaves and putting on, you know, long-running dances. The last year and a half has been a lot of dancehall sort of dance competitions actually. So we've had a couple of Jamaicans out recently that like, you know, that took some workshops, and now there's a lot of dance crews in Melbourne particularly, I think, that having competitions, and that's been a good way, you know, something new. But we don't get a lot of artists coming up from Jamaica, and that slows things down. You know, we had Chronix for the first time last year, but really, he's probably, you know, apart from Damian Marley like 5 or 6 years ago, we don't often get artists at their prime coming out, you know. We're also so far away, it's like 30 hours flight from Kingston, you know, so it's too far for everyone. I think with the music, I've always thought internationally because, you know, don't get me wrong, I love Jamaica. It's one of the most inspiring places I've ever travelled to, and I work with Jamaican artists. I'm making music that I want Jamaicans to be able to dance to and listen to. But I'm also thinking about the international side of things and linking, like with the Cuba Jamaica project. I want to link people up. I think this is one of my strengths, is bringing people together and letting the magic happen. And, you know, like it's an amazing process to be part of. So it's a hard question for me to answer. I don't have a clear vision except that I want to make really amazing music and music that really people really feel and that uplifts people. That's my mission, you know. And where the music goes, I can't really control. When you release something, you don't know what, you know. We're sitting in Delhi, you don't know what little window over there or somewhere. Someone might be listening to your tune, you know. In fact, a week after we released Born a King, a friend of mine was in Negril. It's just like a little beachside town in Jamaica. And I got a text on my phone. It's like, dude, someone just drove past with one of the acoustic tracks from this album, like blaring super loud from like their like totally souped up car with a sound system and stuff. So, you know, that was like wicked. People are listening to it in Jamaica. You know, they're driving on the beach, dropping these tunes, and like for me, I mean, like I just want to make good music and I want people to enjoy it. That's it, you know. Yeah, hopefully the styles I can find, you know, I've never wanted to copy people. I want to find unique sounds and keep developing those sounds. And yeah, that's what I'm going to keep working on.
Reggae Roger sound!